Montana has a methamphetamine problem, a problem that's showing up in just about every town in the hands of users young and old. In fact, more than 400 criminal cases here in Yellowstone County last year involved meth. While addiction touches many lives, even more people may be unknowingly exposed to the drug. Q2's Asia Gore is on special assignment tonight to explain how our own homes may be contaminated by meth and how state law does little to intervene.
If the walls of Billings homes could talk, they might tell a dirty secret.
At least 50% of all the rentals in Billings would be contaminated by meth.
For nearly 2 decades, Rob Moorhead has run a home remodeling business here in Billings with his brother Mark. In addition to installing new floors, Big Sky Exterior Designs also remediates homes contaminated by meth.
The meth would actually be absorbed into the sheetrock here.
Though Moorhead says that service is rarely requested.
In other states, if it tests positive for meth, it's condemned. I mean, it has to be cleaned or torn down, period.
But that's not the case in Montana. A 2005 state law simply requires homeowners disclose any knowledge of meth contamination to a new tenant before selling or renting the home.
I can only disclose what I know.
Angela Klein is the president of the Billings Association of Realtors. Before she agrees to represent a home, Klein checks the state registry. To date, 18 Billings addresses are listed, places where law enforcement discovered a clandestine meth lab. But even Deb Grimm, who updates the list, doesn't think it's complete.
It doesn't cover methamphetamine that results from smoking in a home, and that contaminates the property just as much, if not more, than the manufacturing.
According to the Journal of Chemical Health and Safety, meth residue can last decades. Sellers are not required by law to test the home for meth before selling.
If it's not on the registry website, the seller does not disclose it to us. There's nothing for me to disclose to a buyer then.
Grimm says meth residue left behind by a past resident can have serious implications on future residents.
Extremely hazardous to small infants and toddlers because they're typically crawling on the floor, put everything in their mouth, and they get a larger dose for their body weight of the methamphetamine.
Most of us know what using meth does to a person, but there's little to no research on the health effects of chronic exposure to meth residue. Now, studies available do point to neurological and respiratory issues, but not one doctor at any of the 3 Billings hospitals knew enough about it to give us an interview.
The solution seems easy enough. Test the home for meth and call someone like Moorhead to clean the place up. But remediation typically costs anywhere between $12,000 and $20,000, and it's not covered by insurance.
How long do you think it would take man-hours to clean this place up?
Just to clean the property, probably 2 weeks.
Moorhead says meth permeates wood surfaces, seeps into wallpaper,
You literally take a pressure washer
and settles in air ducts where it's constantly sent back out into the air.
So not only do people in the house have a chance of getting a dose of meth by touching it, but now they are also inhaling it.
The law is written in such a way that it encourages ignorance. No knowledge means no extra cost for the seller and no worry for the buyer. But even Klein, whose industry stands to benefit from this legislation,
We need to get an open house.
believes the law could be improved.
Do I feel that maybe we need stronger laws? It would seem that if a home has been tested pretty, where there's meth in the ductwork and stuff like that for safety purposes, that you would think that it would be required to be cleaned up.
In Billings, I'm Asia Gore, MTN News.
Asia joining us now. Asia, so how can people find out if their home may be contaminated?
Well, Jay, you can buy an at-home test kit for about $20. It will tell you positive or negative for meth contamination. But it is important to note that in a lot of those closing agreements for houses, the seller includes the meth contamination disclosure. And when you sign it, that eliminates all liability from the seller. So if it does test positive, that's now your responsibility.
I'm not sure I want to know.